And let's now get you an India Today exclusive. We've spoken to a top UNIS aide on exactly what's playing out in Bangladesh and the shocking persecution of Hindus. And listen in to how, in fact, this UNIS government insider actually denies Hindu hate.
And joining me now on this India Today special broadcast is Shafiqul Alam, who is the press advisor to Bangladesh's interim administrator, Nobel laureate, Professor Muhammad Yunus. Mr. Alam, the situation in Bangladesh, according to reports emerging, appears to be very grim for minorities and especially Hindus. What steps is the administration led by Professor Muhammad Yunus taking to make Hindus and other minorities feel more secure amidst reports that there is a sharp rise in attacks on Hindus and other minorities?
I think what you are saying is that it's not true. The situation in Bangladesh for the Hindus or any other minorities is not grim. Just a few days back, Voice of America has released a opinion poll where there's a majority is saying that Hindus are more safe now, the minorities are more safe now than they were during Sheikh Hasina's premiership. So what we are witnessing from here is that there is an industrial scale misinformation campaign originating from India, and mostly even some of the top Indian media, which we thought that they were respected, they are also just buying into these stories. So
no, because even in India, sir, here the impression was that since Professor Muhammad Yunus is a Nobel laureate and he's so well respected that President Joe Biden gives him a hug, and the Obamas and the Clintons are so close to him, perhaps rules-based order would be followed. But look at the ground realities. Look at, for example, ISKCON priests and members who wanted to come to India. They had a valid passport, they had valid visas, they were not permitted to cross the border by your immigration police. And is that perhaps just the beginning? I'm not even coming to the issue of Professor Chinmay, monk Chinmay Das right now. I'll come to some of the other issues later.
The people you are talking about, these ISKCON monks, ISKCON, like we say, Tirthojatri, I think they by now they may have cross Bangladesh border. Like we spoke to them yesterday, and I spoke to their general secretary and the president, and they are supposed to travel to India today. I think by now they are in India. You have to check with them. The problem is that most of the news you are actually sourcing from ISKCON officials in Kolkata rather than ISKCON officials in Bangladesh. We have ISKCON General Secretary, ISKCON President. You could have easily checked with them. What's the
story there? We are checking with all concerned. We are also checking on temples being
there are
targeted.
75 of them, and they are supposed to be entering India today for Tirth
for Tirth Yatra. But if it's facilitated, if it's comfortable, it's one thing. But when they're targeted, the manner in which Hindu temples are being burnt, professors are being sacked, police personnel are being sacked, and there is, your country is calling your attorney general thinks ISKCON is an organization which is fundamentalist, but Hifazat-e-Islam or Jamaat-e-Islami, they seem to be ruling the roost in Bangladesh. It just sounds a little odd in a country like Bangladesh, where India had played a very critical role in the freedom of Bangladesh from Pakistan, and it just seems to be becoming another Pakistan.
It's again, you are flooded with industrial scale misinformation campaign. Why don't you send your people here? Why don't you send your journalists to check the reality, ground reality here? Instead of me.
I want to ask you, is Munni Saha a journalist? Is Munni Saha a journalist in Bangladesh? Was she harassed by a mob on the streets? Was that harassment caught on camera? That a mob harasses a journalist, so you want us to send journalists from India who will be harassed when you're unable to protect your journalists there just because they're Hindus?
Again, you are just talking nonsense. She was not harassed because she was not like a pop. Just caught her and just handed her over to police because she was one of those journalists who was accused of like enabling the previous corrupt government of Sheikh Hasina. That's why, like, but we haven't arrested him. She arrested her. She is back. She is at her home. That's it. Again, I'm
So
telling you, like,
mob
why
rules
don't you?
Bangladesh.
No, no,
Mob tells
Mob
Professor
doesn't rule
Muhammad
Bangladesh.
Yunus's
Mob
administration
doesn't rule
what to do.
Bangladesh.
You accuse me of industrial level, you accuse Indian channels of industrial level misinformation. But I'm giving you information that comes from newspapers in Bangladesh. And I want to quote to you at least 50 teachers who are Hindus have been forced to resign. Police personnel who are Hindus who've been forced to resign. And I want to quote, for example, there is this name of principal of Haldar College, and the name is Shukla Rani Haldar. Was she or was she not made to resign? I'm quoting Bangladeshi media.
Again, we like at least 50. I don't know. Where did you get the news? We
From
haven't.
Pratham, your newspapers are not. This is information that's come from Bangladesh.
We haven't we don't have this kind of information. Again, I would.
Should you make an attempt to find out?
Like I asked Mr. Sawant, why don't you send and come and check all this news about the teachers? Why you come? You send your people and go to all these teachers who are allegedly sacked, allegedly forced to retire. That's it. Like what
it's
we
caught
are
on camera. It's caught on camera. It's been put out on television.
Like
I'm sorry. One would have expected somebody like Professor Muhammad Yunus, who's a Nobel laureate, who's fated across the world. Somebody like him should at least make an effort. You or the administration should make an effort to find out. If you're saying that you don't know about this, and if we are aware of this, and if it's there in your newspapers, should you not at least make the effort to find out?
Like we have checked. And we have checked some of the alleged violence, and we have seen that some of this violence is linked to political retribution, nothing to do with religious or a communal hatred, nothing to do with this. So you are like
so political violence in Bangladesh
like
is social. That's allowed.
You have to allow me to talk. Otherwise, you are only talking, and you are not allowing me to talk to complete my sentence.
Go on, sir.
What you are like, what we can tell you is that Hindus and all minorities, everyone is protected here. We during the Durga Puja, we made sure that Hindus can celebrate Durga Puja with the best security, and it was like there were 32,000 mandop, puja mandop was there, and there was not a single attack, not a single attack. And then we gave magistracy power to military so that they can protect they can prevent any incidents of violence. So
and there are multiple instances of Hindus, including those in the custody of the armed forces, who are being assaulted. My only question is, ever since the ouster of Sheikh Hasina, are Hindus being targeted because they may be perceived, they may have been perceived to be voters of a party? But be that as it may, why target Hindus 3 months down the line? August, September, October, November. Now it's December. The temples continue to be burnt. Are you saying temples are no longer being burnt? Because I want to quote to you another report, and this has come from the British Parliament. In the British Parliament, you have a British member of Parliament who said there have been more than 2,000 incidents of violence, mostly against Hindus, and he's blamed the Jamaat-e-Islami. Now, my question to you is, Nobel laureate Professor Muhammad Yunus, is he unwilling or unable to control these radical Islamists?
Look, you are just making your own conclusion. This is far from truth. It's an activist government. It's a secular government. It's nothing to do with any Islamist. Like you are imagining these things. And the British parliamentarian who is quoting this report is quoting the report of Bangladesh Hindu Buddha Christian Council, and that report has been found to be untrue. The Netro News, which is a country's leading investigative website, checked every single death of the report that done by this council, and they found that in almost every case this incident happened due to personal or political reason, nothing to do with religious motivation. And you are talking about like this incident, but
It's
the same
personal,
group.
but in
Look,
each
look,
case, it
look,
is a
look. You have
Hindu
to
or a
no. You
minority
have
being
to allow
targeted
me to
by the
complete my
majority
sentence.
Muslim.
You have to allow me to complete my sentence. This same group in July said that between July 2023 and June 2024, 45 minority members, mostly Hindus, 99% of 95% of them were Hindus, were killed, and not a single, because it happened in Hasina's time, there is not a single report from your end, not a single report from any Indian media, not a single report from any other, like your diaspora group. No one in the British Parliament raised this issue because it's you tolerated Hasina. Hasina's time
The
saw some of the worst
equally appalling if
violence.
it was
Look,
happening in Sheikh Hasina's times.
it
My
saw
point
some
is,
of the worst
why
violence
would it be
against
considered okay
Hindus,
in
and there
Bangladesh
was not
for
a
Hindus to
single.
be killed? How is it okay? Even if it's
Sorry,
happening in Hasina's times, and you say, okay, it happened in her times, it's happening now, it's political.
no, we believe in human rights. We believe every human rights is precious, and we are working to that end. And we do, like what you are saying is mostly rubbish, just
You
rubbish.
may consider it rubbish, but I don't think loss of life of Hindus is rubbish. I don't think, and I seriously, would be very disappointed if
We
you, as
Hindus
advisor
lives
to Bangladesh
Hindu lives
administrator,
are.
Professor Muhammad
That's
Yunus,
why
who's a
you
Nobel
I asked
laureate,
you to come.
considers
That's
ISKCON,
why I
International
like
Society of a
you just.
Krishna Consciousness, if your Attorney General finds it to be a dubious organization, and you think, it's okay, I think that's very disappointing, sir.
Have we banned ISKCON? Have we done anything to them? We have protected all their. We have sent troops to guard all the all the ISKCON temples. You ask the ISKCON leaders here. We think we are here to establish the human rights of every human being here, every Bangladeshi,
In words or in action, sir? Because that's what I want to
irrespective of
understand
his.
from you. Words or action?
We are doing everything. And I think the Hindus and all the Muslims or all the Christians are safe here. It's better you send your team instead of like taking your information from social media group or from
Sir,
any other fringe
we
group.
taking our information from ground reports. We had our reporters
You
on
are not.
ground. Our
It's
reporters are
quite
on
clear you are
standby. The
not.
day you give them a
You are
visa,
not.
they'll be back. They'll be back in Bangladesh. But sir, we've reported the burning down of
I
temples
invite
from
you.
ground zero.
I
We've
invite you.
reported the targeting of Hindus from ground zero in
We
Bangladesh.
are not
So we're
targeting
reporting
any
facts.
Hindus.
We
No
don't
Hindus
cover
are
them up, sir.
targeting.
But we
No,
wouldn't
no,
even
no,
we'd
no.
be very
We are
disappointed in
doing
case
everything.
Muhammad Yunus's administration is appearing to be doing that, sir.
You are like again. What you are saying like it's far from reality. You better send your team and inspect. They should inspect what is happening. You can go to the places where this alleged violence took place. This is like I would ask you to send your team. It's cheap. You can easily send your team. They can come here. They can go to the ground, see the ground realities here. It's we like it. But what you are doing is just repeating the same thing, parroting the same thing that some of the fringe group are saying or some of the misinformation bots are saying.
Sir, if members of parliament across the globe are raising this, when India has officially raised this with Bangladesh, India has officially asked Bangladesh to ensure that Hindus and other minorities are protected in Bangladesh.
Hindus
My
are well
first question to
protected
you
here.
was, what steps is the
Hindus are well
administration led by
protected
Nobel
here.
laureate Professor
Hindu and
Muhammad
all
Yunus taking?
minorities are
You haven't
protected
been able
here.
to give me a
Hindus are
single step that has
represented in
been
the
taken, and that's
government.
my first question.
Hindus are
What steps are being
represented in the
taken to protect
government.
Hindus and other
Hindus are well
minorities?
protected here. Hindus are well protected here. They are more protected than they were during Hasina's time. And we think every human life is precious. And we are here to establish the human rights of everyone, irrespective of creed, gender, ethnicity, race, color. we are here to establish human rights, and we are doing
According
that.
to you, how many temples have been burnt? How many churches have been targeted according to you, sir? Ever since Professor Muhammad
Our
Yunus's administration took over, or ever since the ouster of Sheikh Hasina's government?
In the last week, we have found that one temple in Chittagong was targeted. There are some protesters threw rocks at the temple. We got it from police from the ground, and there was attempt to attack three ISKCON temples. That I can tell you. But we have stepped up security in all these places.
So I want to understand from you, what is Bangladesh's perception of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness?
We think they are a religious organization. They have a huge follower. Bangladeshi Hindus are, like many Hindus are their member. They are like any other religious organizations, and we they are free to preach their religion like any other religious organization, be that a Christian or a Muslim or a Buddhist or a Hindu. They're fine.
And what about members of the Jamaat-e-Islami or Hifazat-e-Islam and other organizations who've been calling for targeting of Hindus or eradication in some instances of Hindus in Bangladesh? Would action be taken against such elements?
I don't think that I haven't seen any statement from Jamaat-e-Islami or Hifazat-e-Islami calling to target Hindus. I haven't seen any statement.
You haven't seen those rallies happening where they've said dhoro dhoro and chato chato or words to that effect?
There are obviously they have stage protests. Obviously there are in India you have seen some of our consulated officials were attacked. Our flags were burned. Obviously they have stage protest. But I haven't seen anyone calling for targeting the Hindus.
My pronunciation may be wrong, but what does dhoro dhoro chato chato mean?
Of the leaders doing that. Hello?
What does dhoro dhoro chato chato or words to that effect mean when organizations like the Hifazat-e-Islam carry out such rallies?
I haven't heard any such things.
So for your benefit, we shall put that out on television once again. I shall personally send you a clip, and I sincerely hope action would be taken against such elements, because if Bangladesh truly is protecting Hindus and minorities, that's very good. But if they are being targeted, it's extremely unfortunate. And
why don't you send your team here? My request is, you are
in India and across the world,
organization, send your team.
You know what Professor Muhammad Yunus and his administration are doing in Bangladesh, sir?
My request is, my sincere hope is that you send your team here. They can go to all these alleged places of alleged violence. They can go there. They can meet the Hindu people, Hindu communities here. They can meet Hindu leaders here. The ISKCON, they can go to any ISKCON temples. We will process visa in 1 hour. You come, you visit.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We shall test that out in actual words. For joining me here on India Today, Shafiqul Islam, Press Secretary to Professor Muhammad Yunus. Many thanks for joining me, sir.
Thank you.